here's the three things I wanted to talk about before we go on. The first one, I just have to disagree with something that Jeffrey said earlier. I mean, we're friends, I like him, I've been on his show, he had me come on C-Suite and do his television show, but he said something that I'm going to disagree with. It's a free country, that's what's great about it, you can agree with whatever you want, but I can't let it sit, so I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't. I know that what he said, maybe I misunderstood it, it doesn't matter, we don't need to argue it, I'm just going to make the other point. But he made a comment about that men have always thought with other parts of their body and always will, so just accept that. I'm going to tell you, I disagree. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why I disagree. There is no way. We have built, I'm going to tell you about some of the things we've built. We have built billions of dollars worth of companies. Let me ask you this. Do you think that we could have done that? Do you think I could have done that by saying, you know what? That one girl, she's kind of stupid, but she's hot. Let's hire her. Okay? You cannot achieve success by judging people for anything other than their abilities. So I think that he said that to you, and I don't agree at all. Never have I made a decision based on somebody's race, creed, religion, color, gender, or age. Every decision we've ever made was based on your merits and nothing else. So when he said to you, men are always like that, here's some good news, not all of them. Okay? Everybody doesn't make decisions that way. And believe me, we would have never been successful, like I said, if our thing was, let's just get a bunch of cute girls and not worry about whether or not they can perform. That's just absurd, okay? Are there people that do that? Yes. Is it part of nature, God's design, whatever you believe in? Of course. If men and women weren't attracted to each other, it would have been the end of the human race already. We are designed to actually be attracted to each other. There's nothing wrong with that, but this is business that we're talking about today. And when you were launching a company, you know what the beauty of ideas? I've always considered myself an idea farmer. My job is to harvest ideas for a living. That's what I do. Guess what's cool about ideas? They don't care where they came from. The world's best, a good idea doesn't care if you're black or white, if you are male or female, if you are Christian or Muslim. A good idea is a good idea. I'll give you an example. My very first company I was standing in line in an airport trying to check in, and it took forever. I stood an hour to get a boarding, but at the end, I gave her my ID. She hit a button and printed a boarding pass. And I remember saying, an hour for you to hit print? And she said, sir, you have to have a boarding pass. I'm 20-something years old. You have to have a boarding pass to get on a plane. I said, right, but it took you an hour. I stood here an hour, and all you did was hit print. And she said, sir, you have to have a boarding pass to go through security. I said, I get that, but it's a printer. A boarding pass is a sheet of paper. Just put it over there and I'll do it. And she said, you can't do that. Boarding passes are created by airlines. So I'll tell you what my first company was. That Friday, I went out and started a company, and we invented, patented, and sold in airports all over the world. The kiosk that you check in on now was actually our invention. And airports all over the planet. Now, could you imagine, let's say a woman had done that. Would you have walked up to this product and said, ooh, I really need to get a boarding pass, but a woman created this, so I'm not going to use it? No one cares. Okay? The only thing that matters is the merits of what you produce. If you allow that conversation to go on, it'll go on. There are people that will judge you for all the wrong things. Again, race, religion, or gender. But if you focus on product, if you focus on delivering something, people say, you know what, wait a minute, they don't even care. They don't even see what you look like anymore. They say, wait, a kiosk where you can check in and get your own boarding pass and skip the line is brilliant, I'll take one. Nobody cares. Skype, any of you ever use Skype? Right? Skype was created by a 17-year-old kid in Estonia. Would you be on Skype and say, wait a minute, an Estonian kid created this? I don't want to use this anymore. You don't care. A good idea is a good idea. So don't be swayed by that because it's not true. The most successful people in the world judge your results, your merits, your intelligence, your energy, your work ethic. They don't even care what you look like or where you came from, okay? One other thing that I want to share with you guys as well, because I hear people sometimes talk about money. And of course money's important, right? It's the fuel of many, many things. There's a lot of problems in the world that you can only solve if you actually, some problems actually take money. You can't pay your mortgage with good intentions. Okay, you actually need money. But I want to be really clear about something. By the way, I've never been money driven. It has never owned me. And I've never thought about it. But here's a lesson that's really important. People that are motivated by money and chase money, those people rarely ever get it. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. The most important thing I can tell you today, don't chase money, chase excellence. Okay, because money follows excellence. You're not going to get rich until you create something amazing in the world. And if you're focused on money all day, you will be distracted from excellence. Go out and do something amazing, and you will never worry about money again. I never cared about money. I just told you the story of my first company. I cared about excellence. We were just having this discussion about Meredith and I, about getting every little detail right and caring about the quality of everything that you do. We focused on excellence. We actually created something kind of cool, those check-in kiosks, right? Just like, I'll talk a little bit about Priceline in a minute. You know what happened? One day, every airport in the world's buying the product. And the next day, somebody comes into the office and says, we'd like to buy your company. Sold the company, again, I'm not a money guy, but I sold the company for over $100 million. And it ain't internet money, but I'm 20-something years old. That's not so bad either. Never one day did I think about money. It showed up because I thought about excellence. Okay, so stay focused on creating something amazing, and no one will ever care again if you are black, white, male, female, or anything. They'll just say, wait, you built that? That's all you want in the world. And people judge results. People care what you create, not what you talk about. So the last thing I want to say, and then I'll get into this, is that the other thing that's been really cool for me to sit here and listen to you guys. So I took off, just by way of background, I think I actually had it on here. I've been building companies my whole life, done 8 startups. Obviously, that's our big company. This is a company that when we created this, it was started on a small table with a small group of people with an idea and with a focus on excellence. This company today does business in 200 countries around the world. It started at 0, right, with nothing, and today this company is worth $67 billion. Okay, this is what happens when you focus on excellence and you tune out what people look like and where they come from and what their accent sounds like. Focus on people's contribution, focus on excellence, and this happens. But I'll tell you something. I took time, I think I might even have that. Oddly enough, I'm actually following my presentation somehow. That never happens. I had always made a commitment to give back, which is the other thing I want to talk to you guys about. There's no shame in life in making money. The shame in life is not using it to help others, okay? It's your success. I'm going to tell you a really fast story. I just told you the story of me selling that first company, and I suddenly had millions of dollars, and I don't care about money, and I never planned for it, and I didn't want it. And it brought a lot of bad things with it that I did not anticipate. It brought jealousy and envy, and it brought greed and people's bad behavior. And I'm just going to tell you, one night, I'm still 20-something years old, and I literally remember sitting there thinking one night, that's it? That's the rat race? Everybody out there is going back and forth in traffic and taking buses for this? This can't be it. It can't be all about everybody's trying to get rich or make money or whatever it is. Because if that's it, I was pretty disappointed. Right? I got there a little early and I said, well, this is pretty empty. It was fun for like 10 days. And I said, okay, that can't be all there is. But I got to tell you something. I actually had a day where I felt bad because all my friends were still in the struggle, right? And unfortunately, we live in a society that puts way too much value on money and material things. And so everybody was still out there struggling. And one day, I literally, for a bunch of reasons, I actually felt bad, right? Because there were so many negative things in my life now just because of some zeros that showed up in my bank account. And I was sitting there one day, actually when I was sitting was remembering that song, No Money, No Problems, because problems were coming up everywhere. But I got so upset that my life got so complicated and so ugly because the way other people reacted to money, right? It didn't change me. It even changed things, like dating or whatever. Would this person have even spoken to you if they hadn't seen you on the news yesterday? You're always asking that question, right? So I remember thinking to myself one day, I wish I'd never made this money. And then I sat there, I thought, wait, that's totally unfair. I actually created excellence. I solved a problem that millions of people around the world were helped by. Why am I upset that I got, money is the reward of business. It's a scorecard of business. So I did something good in business and I got money. That's just how it works. So why am I feeling bad about that? It seems unfair. If I work really hard and I treat people well and I stay true to my values and create something that people like and someone pays me for it, why do I feel bad? So I'm going to just tell you guys what happened that night, and then I'll get into this presentation. I was sitting on the couch by myself, just sort of closed off and feeling horrible. And the news came on. And on the news, I was looking for sports. That's my escape when I need to escape from everything else, I just watch sports to get a mental break. And I was flipping the channels, and this story came on. And it was this woman, a house full of women, and a woman reporter, and all the women were crying. And I thought, well, it must have been a murder, like a mass killing. Everybody's hysterical. So I stopped on the channel for a minute. And the woman, here's what it was, guys. It was a home for abused women. Most abused women never leave. You say, well, why don't you just leave him? Really? Guess why? Because there's nowhere to go. They don't have a dime. They don't have a house. They don't have anywhere to go. So these women had built a home for abused women and said, if you have nowhere else to go, get out and come live in this house. They hired security, they did education, they did job training. It was amazing, except they ran out of money. And the reason they were all crying is they had till midnight the next day to be out. They were evicted. Okay? So I was sitting there and watching this thing, and the woman says, the reporter, "Where will you go?" And she says, "Well, he told me he'd kill me if he ever saw me again, so I can't go back home." "Where will you go?" She said, "I guess I'll sleep on the street tonight." She asked the other woman, "Where will you go?" She said, "Well, I have 2 young kids, but he broke all my ribs twice. I can't go back there." And she said, "I'll just go sleep on the street somewhere too and hope I can find somewhere safe for my kids." And I'm going to tell you what I remembered thinking. Okay, I remembered thinking, by the way, the reporter turned back to the screen and she goes, "Coming up next, sports." And you know what I said? You know what Americans do? Ooh, thank God, because I don't want to see this anymore. This is making me uncomfortable. Good thing sports is coming up. But as I changed the channel, I thought something to myself. I thought, man, they should help those women. They should do something, right? And when you do that, if everybody this is what occurred to me. If everybody watching this moment right now says, man, they should do something, who does something? Nobody, because everybody said it. So I jumped up, and a thought is like an epiphany. And I have this wall where I write stuff that matters to me. You know what I wrote on there? I wrote, "There is no they."
Yes.
Okay, it's us. There is no they. They ain't gonna help. They don't exist. It's us. And a thought occurred to me. My business success created something that I never had before. I thought, holy crap, I have money. I never had this before. I'll fix it. So I'm going to tell you what I did. I called the news station. I got the info. I went to the bank the next day. Actually, this is kind of funny because I wasn't thinking. I took my gym bag and emptied it out and went to the bank. Turns out you don't go into a bank, put a duffel bag on the counter and say, "Fill this with money." But I did that. The girl hit the buzzer. The president of the bank came out, and then he said, stop, turn the alarm off. I know that guy. And he said, "Jeff, you can't walk into the bank with a duffel bag and tell the girl to fill the money." And he said, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "I want some of my money." And he said, "What for?" And I told him. And he said, "We can do that." So they went back in the vault, and I'll tell you what I did. He put the money in. I took the gym bag. I parked 3 blocks away. I walked down to that house, and I went in there. And I said to them, she actually said, "What do we owe you?" I said, "You don't owe me anything." She said, "This is a bad time for a bill collector." I said, "I'm not a bill collector." And she said, "Who the hell are you and why are you bothering us?" Now, all the women were crying still and packing. And I said, I just need 5 seconds of your time. And she said, "What for?" And I pushed the duffel bag across. And I said, "In this bag is all the money you owe for the last 4 months, and I paid the entire next years of all your bills." And I said, "You can tell them all to stop unpacking. It's okay now." And I got to tell you something. By the way, when I went home, when she went screaming down the hall, I ran out, just ran home. I don't want the story to be about. It was even funnier because I parked in the front door, but I ran to the back door and there was a big giant fence and I couldn't get out. So I'm trying to climb the fence and they're like, some guy's trying to climb out or something. I ran away, got in my car, turned the news on that night, and for a first minute, I thought I'd done the dumbest thing in history. All the women were still crying. And I said, "Oh my God, never give a bag of cash to a strange woman. She's in Brazil by now." Right? But then the reporter said, "We're all still crying tonight, but this time it's happy tears." And I realized that they had been informed and they were saying, "Who gave you this money?" "I don't know, some guy just came in and fixed our problem." I'll tell you something, I never felt bad about making money ever again. Because I found out that your success is somebody else's miracle. And so one of the things I want to tell you guys, why am I here? Why do I travel around the world helping people to be successful? Because I'm hoping every one of you will reach behind you, take the hand of somebody less fortunate and pull them forward. Okay? As long as we commit to doing something with our success, people like me and lots of others, that's why Twyla's here too, we'll be here to help you get successful because we know that your success has a ripple effect on people around you. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because sometimes people say to me, Arthur said before, I could be sitting on a golf course or whatever. Some people say to me, "What gets you up every day?" That's what gets me up. Knowing that if I help you, you'll help X other people out there in the world. And knowing that if I can teach you to make a difference the way I did, or give you the business skills I had that enabled us to make money, then you can actually improve the world around you. So I spend my time now, I made a commitment to giving back. I spent the last 3 years on a world tour. My commitment to mentoring, I've been going country by country mentoring, but I'll tell you, the single biggest sort of group within that is women. I've gone and met with women all over the world. I think I've been to 80 different countries. and I've been traveling for years, including this one, working with women's groups, and there is no doubt, somebody said this earlier, about there's a whole bunch of things women are better at, you are. Okay? There are things, we said that genetically, DNA-wise, we're different for a reason. Well, guess what? Some of those things that make you different, your ability to nurture makes you really good at building teams, which guess what? Is the reason we were successful is because we built really good teams. There's so many talents that you have that you need to stop apologizing for. You actually have talents that apply really well to business. I don't hire people because they're male or female, but I got to tell you, lately more and more of the companies and entrepreneurs and business owners I've been meeting, women are rising up and they're just kicking butt. There's so many places that women are saying, wait a minute, instead of apologizing that I'm like I am, I'm going to apply the way I am to the world of business as well and use these skills in ways that sometimes aren't natural to men. We all have to do this together. It's teams that win. But it's been amazing to me. I co-founded United Nations Women's Entrepreneurship Day. We did an event, you can look this up, called the Girl Effect. I did this with Nike. We went and found, let me tell you what the bar was. We went and found women launching companies. This is a really high bar. The bar is, the thing you're creating has to have the potential to get millions of girls worldwide out of poverty. So we literally went around the globe and we found women who are creating solutions that will get millions of girls out of poverty worldwide. We're doing an event that I'm speaking at the United Nations next week called Girls Around the World, where we're dealing with girls' health issues. Because the truth is, while I told you all the reasons why you can't use being a woman as an excuse, because good ideas win, on the other hand, I fully recognize you have issues we don't. Here's one. I spent a lot of the last year in Africa and working with women and young girls, and I was stunned the day a young girl said to me, we miss 1 week of school every month. It's hard to keep up with the boys. I said, what do you mean? And she said, because in Africa, I'm sorry guys to be crude, I'm being real, okay? She said, there's a social stigma against bleeding. So during your period, you're not allowed to come to school. So she said, we have to stay home a whole week of every month. She said, how are we going to keep up in school staying home a whole week every month? So we found 2 girls right here in New York that created basically a pair of panties that you can wear for a whole week, right? So we got them funded. We got that built. These are the kinds of things that we do in an organization like that. There are women's issues that you understand that I don't, and I never will. And you understand each other's journey. So you need each other. You need to network. You're here to listen to speakers, but you should not leave this room without meeting each other and forming teams and forming networks. Because I don't know your plight. I don't live it. I'll hire you based on your merits, but I can't help you with things that only another woman can. So you need organizations like Women's Venture Fund. You need days like Take Flight. That's why I'm here today, because you need to help each other in ways that everybody else can't. So, all that said, sorry to take all that time, but I spent this last year, like I said, women's issues have been a big thing for me to just try to help where I can. I did this event, they called me from Vietnam. They said, we're going to launch. They said, we need you to come help us. So I go to this event, it's the Vietnamese Women's Business Association. I go in the room, it's me and 400 Vietnamese women. And they all standing there staring at me. I said, okay, what is it exactly that you guys do? And they said, we were hoping you knew. They said, this is the first business association for women in Vietnam ever, and we don't even know where to start. The movement is rising, right? But you gotta help each other. We'll help where we can. I did a thing at the United Nations, it was called Conversations with Men. And it was a women's business thing, right? When the first part working with, obviously Maria knows that's where we met through that group, but the first time talking to that group. So anyway, this is your time, right? No excuses, but help each other. And when you do succeed, give back. That's my ask for spending my time with you guys as well. So let's talk about branding. Maria asked me to do, and Arthur asked me to do a specific topic here about branding. You heard earlier today, the number's bigger than I thought. That an average, your customer hears 5,000 to 6,000 marketing messages a day. Television, radio, billboards, your mobile device and your computer. 5,000 to 6,000, I forgot who said that this morning. Marketing messages a day. So the question is, how are you ever going to rise above that noise? In a world where everybody's hearing about these marketing messages in every product, every day, 5,000 messages you have to compete with to get people to buy your product and to know about you and to hear about you. So what I'm going to tell you is that, you know, the traditional marketing and advertising, buying ads and doing that kind of marketing. But we're going to talk today about the importance of brand, and I'm going to explain to you why it's important first. But here's why you need a brand. The way that you really grow in the world is not by selling directly to people. If I have to go tell each of you individually about my product, it's going to take me a long time to grow sales. The way that companies scale and the way that we've been able to build companies that grew to 200 countries is when people start calling you because they heard of the product. People you never sold anything to call you. So we need a brand, because what you want is when somebody says, I'll use Meredith's example, when somebody says sunscreen, they say, geez, we need sparkle, right? You want people to think of you first when it's time to do something. You mentioned that you use Priceline. Our hope is when it's time to book a hotel room, the first thing that comes to your mind is Priceline. Brand is the thing that draws you customers that didn't cost you a dime because they think of you as soon as the topic comes up. So let's talk about how we build a brand. The brand is something that you have to create and shape. We call this brand shaping because each one of us, your company when you start is a piece of clay, and you keep molding it and changing it, molding it and changing it, and you're almost afraid to put it into the fire because I don't want this thing to harden. What if I'm wrong? Right? Then I have to warm it up and change the shape of it again. The brand is the clay that you shape to send out there, but the brand is a sales tool. And what I just explained to you is today you have to go out and proactively make sales. And people always ask me, I actually failed to bring my book. I wrote a book last year called Scale, How to Grow a Company, since that's what we spend all our time doing. But the key, so people always ask me, what's the key to scale? I want my company to grow to whatever numbers you want, whatever countries you want. Like I said, Priceline is already a multi-billion-dollar company at scale. But we did that with numerous companies that we had. So the question is, scale, brand is the key to scale. So let me give you the example, all right, of how brand works. When we were building this business, we have to add hotels. So how do we get hotels in a new business? We have to explain it to them and sell it to them. So we have a PowerPoint, we have sales materials. We call hotels, will you please speak to the manager? Who's in charge of sales at your hotel? Can we stop by on Friday? You have to go visit every hotel. You sit down, you give your sales pitch. Maybe you can do it on the phone, right? But we got to talk to someone at the hotel, explain Priceline to them, and then push a contract over and say, would you like to sign up? Imagine how slow that is, right? If every hotel we add, and we have tens of thousands of hotels all over the world, every hotel you have to go visit. It's really hard to scale. So the turning point for the company was one day, sitting in the office, sales team's getting ready to go out, and the phone rings. Can we help you? I said, yeah, I'm Hotel ABC. Okay, we look into the database, we don't even know them, we don't have an appointment with them. Why are you calling? Because I heard about Priceline and I want to sign up. No sales call, no one visited them and no one called them. And we're like, wait, you heard about us? Where? That's brand. We heard your message in the market. So the day that hotels started calling us to sign up was the day our company grew. When we had to go visit every customer, it was slow. When they just started calling us, people we'd never heard of, it was fast. That's when we realized the investment in brand was bigger, really in some ways, more important than the investment in sales tools and marketing materials, because you've got to invest in both. It really started growing there, taking off. You know what you do next? Then you say, geez, we need an automated sign-up tool, right? All of a sudden you go the next step. Not only do people start calling you, but you say to them, if you're calling at midnight and we're not there, you can just go to our website and sign your stuff up. So guess what happened after we built automated enrollment? Self-service. It's the banks with an ATM. Think about the brilliance of that. The banks, we saved them a fortune by not going in. They have less marble lobbies, less banks, and less employees, but you pay $3, are you kidding me? That's brilliance. We pay them for the opportunity of saving them a ton of money, right? They put an ATM out and said, oh, it makes it easier for you. No, it's saving them money. They should pay us to use it, but we pay them to do it. That's your goal, right? When your brand starts working and people start looking for your product, make it easy for them to buy the product without you even being at work. So when we added automated enrollment, people can sign up and do as much out of the box, like you said, as possible. Then one day, the next day, no one's even left the office. We literally could be on the beach, and you come into work and we have 24 new hotels signed up that no one even visited or spoke to. So the brand is what gets people aware of you, and they start coming to you without any sales expense for you. So let's talk about what a brand is. And this is important. When I ask people what they think a brand is, people think it's like their slogan. It's a clever slogan. A brand is way bigger than that. A brand is a personality, and a brand is a way of life. I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. When you think of those companies, think about the people in the Apple store with the black t-shirts. If somebody said to you, some friend said, I got a job at the Apple store, you would say, no, you didn't. See, how do you know they didn't? Because your friend's just not one of those people. What are those people? Apparently, you can identify the kind of people that would probably work for Apple, right? Because it's a personality, it's a way of life. That's really, really good. There have been movies like these intern movies about Googlers. Why? Because they have a way of life. It's been so well defined that there's movies about it. Ferrari, I was walking past that Ferrari store in New York City, and there were people coming out with Ferrari hats and t-shirts. So out of curiosity, I said, you own a Ferrari? They're like, are you kidding? I could barely afford the shirt. And I said, why are you buying the shirt? Why do you think they're buying it? Because it's a lifestyle. It's a personality. People that don't own Ferraris wear Ferrari hats and shirts because they get the lifestyle and they get the personality of it and they want to be associated with it. So what you're trying to do is build a personality too, and I'm going to tell you how. The brand consists of two parts, a brand asset and a brand personality. And let's do both of these things. We're going to do the brand asset first. But here's what I want to tell you. Most businesses make this mistake. They try to be all things to all people, and they try to explain too many benefits. And here's the truth. You might say, I'm going to use a stupid example, every website says it's fast, it's easy, it's cheap. Okay, well if every website on the planet says that, you have not distinguished yourself, right? So the best companies in the world don't try to give you 10 reasons to shop with them. They pick the one most compelling reason. So I want you to think about that. And by the way, guys, this goes for your personal brand. If you're trying to sell yourself as an employee, a consultant, a personality, quit trying to be all things to all people. Pick a horse to ride in the race. Pick the thing that is best about you, because you're not great at 10 different things. Nobody on the planet is. I have never hired an accountant who said, Jeff, by the way, I can also do the engineering and I'll write the marketing campaign. Right? And I've never had an engineer who said, let me do the taxes and I'll also write marketing. Okay, it doesn't work that way. Engineers are good at engineering. Accountants are good at numbers. My marketing people are good at the people side and the marketing side. Just because you own the business, you're not suddenly good at 10 things. Even if you're doing those 10 things, you're doing them because you have to, but you better let go of 9 of them fast. And you better do one thing. So when you brand yourself or you brand your company, you need to pick the one thing that you are best at. The one thing that distinguishes you most. And that's the reason. Because the truth is, customers, even though you said it's fast, it's easy, it's cheap, they only did business with you one of those things. There's one thing that drew every customer to you that you may not know. The best brands have this one simple but powerful reason that people do business with them. That's the brand asset. So that's the question. You as a human, what is the one thing that stands out most about you? What is the one thing you do best? And I have a friend of mine, just really quickly, she was an accountant, right? And she wasn't very happy in her business. She had a good job, but I noticed she didn't love accounting. And I started asking her about what she thought she was best at. And I won't tell you the whole story, but her friends behind her back all called her the argument girl. And I said, why does everybody call you that? She said, oh, because when people have a dispute, she said, I'm the one person that can make any two people anywhere like each other again. She said, everybody comes to me when they have beef. Mom won't talk to daughter, best friends won't talk. She said, everybody comes to me, so after work, when I leave my accounting job, I solve everybody's arguments. So guess what she is now? She actually started a company called The Argument Girl. She quit accounting, she started a dispute resolution company. She makes 10 times what she did before, and she's way, way happier. She's doing the one thing she's so darn good at that everybody comes to her for that. Her strength wasn't numbers. Her strength was dispute resolution. She's the argument girl. What are you? What is your brand asset for your company? What is the one most important thing? If somebody can only give you one reason, so I'm going to give you, the question is, and I ask people this, if you can only give somebody one reason, only one, to do business with you, what is it? Is it you're the cheapest, the fastest, or whatever it is? So let me give you a couple quick examples. Never have you seen an ad that said, come to Walmart for the highest quality products, okay? They've never said that. Never have you seen an ad that said, come to Walmart for the amazing service. Okay, I was in a Walmart recently, and there was a Walmart employee with a blue apron on. She was standing in the aisle texting, and this older woman walked up and said, excuse me, could you help me with something? And the employee looked at her, I kid you not, and said, "Can you not see that I'm texting?" And the woman was like taken aback. And she said, "Well, I needed help with something." And she said, "Well, I have to go back to the cashier anyway. I can't help you." And the woman was upset. And I said, "Can I ask you something?" And she said, "What?" And I said, "Did you really think you were going to find a Walmart employee knowledgeable about products and friendly service in the aisle?" She said, "Well, I never have before." I said, "Then why did you come here?" She said, "Because they have the lowest price." I said, "You got the brand, you got what you were promised." Walmart advertises always low prices. For their whole life, all they've sold you is one thing. You can't, it might not be a great experience. Hell, there's websites called Walmart people. It's not always a good experience. They didn't sell you that, they sold you one thing. Here's the opposite of that. I was walking through a Nordstrom to get a birthday present for my sister. Then I walked past a piano player with white gloves on playing the piano. I stopped and I was like, "Wait a minute." I said, "There's a piano player in the middle of the store." I said, "Who pays you?" He said, "You do." He said, "Everybody buying something. I'm costed into every sweater you buy in the store." That's the Nordstrom experience. When I got to the counter, there were in fact 6 girls, and I swear they sang in rhythm, "Can we help you?" Okay? I looked at the price tag of the sweater. It was like 5 times what I thought it was. I don't know women's sweaters. If I had said, "Are you kidding me? You charge that much for a sweater?" She would have said, "Sir, you ain't in Walmart, you're in Nordstrom's. You didn't come here to buy the cheapest product. You came here because we sell you the best service." Pick one asset about your company that you are best at and ride that. Now I'm going to give you a really cool thing to do. Any of you that have a business, I want you to text 10 customers who already bought for you, and I want you to ask them this question. Give me the one, only one, most important reason you chose to do business with me. And I'm going to tell you 2 things are going to happen. 9 of them are going to say the same thing. And here's the other thing that's going to happen. It is not going to be what's in your advertising. Just blows me away every time we do this. They say, "Look, the truth is, I came to Angela's company for X." And 9 of them said that. You say, "Geez, that's why everybody comes to us. I didn't realize that was the reason that everybody chooses us." That thing is your brand asset. Ask 10 people why they chose you. And whatever it is, change all your marketing now to say that one thing, because that's how you're getting picked anyway. Quit trying to explain the 10 benefits of doing business with us and build your brand around the one thing. By the way, a brand's job is not to answer every question. It's not a proposal. A brand's job is to get people, I'll tell you what a brand's job is. A brand's job is to get people to say, "Wait, what? Tell me more." They've heard about you and they want to know more. That's all the brand is. The brand gets you to pull up a chair about. So think about price lines. Our most important distinguisher, our brand asset was we had this technology where you could name your own price. So imagine this. Instead of saying, "Would you like to buy an airline ticket?" because we sell them and they're good prices. Everybody says that. Here's our brand asset. We said, "How would you like to name the price of an airline ticket?" Not one person said, "You know what? No, I'll just pay whatever they want." Okay? And not one person said, "I can do that anywhere. All airlines ask me what I want to pay." Everybody said, "Wait, what?" And every single person remembered us. It's Name Your Own Price company. Our brand asset was one thing. You set the price. It's a reverse auction. You name the price. No one forgot that. And when somebody said, "Hey, I want to take a shot at making a bid on an airline ticket," who was the first company they thought of? Us. Because that was our brand. So pick your brand asset. By the way, if you want to do this personally, if you're a consultant or a coach, text 10 of your friends and say, "What is the single thing in the world I'm best at? What is my #1 skill?" And 9 of Annette was her name. 10 of Annette's friends said, "You're the argument girl." Not one of them said accountant. And yet she was an accountant for a living in an accounting firm. She quit the next day and became the argument girl and has an amazing company now. Text 10 friends and say, "Tell me the one thing you think I'm best at in the world." That is your brand asset. Market that and only that so that people notice you and remember you. The more you try to include everyone and everything, the broader you make your message, the less people remember it. What are those guys? They're people who do stuff. That's all I remember. Okay, that is not memorable. Now let's move on to the next part. And I just want to say this, by the way, because a lot of times companies have to shrink down before they can grow. People tell me, "I don't know why we're not growing. We added 4 new product lines. Now we have 5 product lines." Later in time, you could have many product lines, but what I'm telling you to do is how to grow, how to scale. When you scale, you have to win a gold medal at something. You have to be the best at something. You cannot be the best at 6 different things. Pick something that you can be the best at. And people say, "Well, if I only tell people I'm good at this, all these other customers, I might lose them." Lose them until you win a gold medal. Let me give you the example of doing that. Amazon today is the marketplace of everything, right? You can buy everything on there. But back in the early days, there weren't very many internet companies when we were starting. So I used to talk to Jeff and Pierre. They created eBay. I would talk to this Jeff. He created Amazon. We all chatted all the time, right? Let me tell you something. Bezos' vision was always for Amazon to be the marketplace of everything. But for years, what did they sell? One and only one thing. Bezos said, we're going to be the best damn bookseller on the planet. Your job is to be the best damn something, not everything. Because when you win a gold medal, what did we do? We said it's only a book, but man, that company's amazing. What else you got? The market will pull you forward, but not if you're winning a gold medal. And anything is hard. That's why I use that example. If you're Mia Hamm, you don't win a gold medal at soccer by coming home, swimming for 20 minutes, playing 20 minutes of tennis, shooting some hoop, then a half hour of soccer, then you go watch TV. No. You play soccer 6 hours a day since you're 4 years old. Winning a gold medal at anything is hard. You're not going to win one in 6 different products. So quit trying to be everything to everybody. Pick the one you can win a gold medal at. Another friend of mine, Tony Hsieh, created this company. Tony and I go out speaking sometimes. You know what Tony said? They said at the beginning, we're going to be the best damn shoe seller on the planet. They had the discipline to win a gold medal at one thing. When somebody said, where do I buy shoes online? All of us said Zappos. As soon as you win a gold medal, you know what you and I said? They're just shoes, but can I get some earrings to accessorize these shoes and maybe a handbag? The market comes to you when you are the best at anything. So be the best at something and quit trying to do it all early on. Now the second part, after you have a brand asset, is called your brand personality. It's the voice in which you always speak. In fact, let me just move forward. The goal of the brand personality is for people to remember you. I'm going to tell you really quick. Do I have it? Yeah, I'm going to tell you a really quick example. I was doing a speech like this. I wrote down a sentence. The sentence had no names in it, no companies, and no products. And I handed it to the 5 people in the front, and I said, who said this? And they said, Jeff, how do we know that? There's no products, there's no company, there's no market. I said, just take a wild guess. Write it down and hand it to me. 4 of them handed the paper back. They'd written down the words Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I said, wait, how did you know that? Because it didn't say ice cream, Ben, Jerry, anything. And they said, it just sounds like something those people would say. That is your goal. I said, why do you think that? And they said, because. I said, what do you think Ben & Jerry's looks like? I was just at their headquarters recently. They said they're probably in jeans and work boots and flannel shirts, and they probably have their meetings outdoors at picnic tables. Guess what they do? They have a personality that we actually recognize. That is your goal, is when somebody hears a message, they say, you know what, that sounds like something she would say. You want your company to be so recognizable. So there's one. I do this thing called the Extreme Tech Challenge that Richard Branson and I do together. One day I said to Branson, his hair was in his face. I said, why don't you cut your hair? And he said, Jeff, are you nuts? That's my brand. He said, me standing, looking into the sun with my hair blowing on some island, that's the personality of the whole company. That's the brand. He said, I can never cut my hair as long as I'm virgin, because that's the brand. Right? So when you think of Virgin, it's already a party and the sun is shining and we're on an island and our hair is blowing in the breeze. That's the brand. Saying something like that sounds like a Branson thing. They have a personality. How do you build a personality? Do this exercise when you get home. If your company was a person, who would he or she be? Just do this. Decide it, okay? Who would your company be? Are you old, young, male, female, smart, average? What are you? Design your company like it was a person, and then live that. Everything your company says should be in that voice. So when people ask me about, you use this brand personality to guide everything. So I think I have it. There was nothing there, okay? No, I get it. Think about this. People ask about William Shatner at Priceline. William Shatner came not the way you think. What it came from was a company sitting down and saying this, what is our personality? Listen to this, guys. What is our personality? Well, we're not young. We're your travel advisor. We're not young because we're seasoned, right? We've been around. A 20-year-old hasn't seen the world typically. We're older. We're high-tech. We're space age. We're writing all these on the board. We're an older, high-tech space age, but we're leaders. We're captains of industry. We've traveled the world. We've traveled the galaxy. Right? But especially if you go look at my Color Jar website, we have a cheesy sense of humor, because we do. I never take myself, especially, or anything else too seriously for too long. That's our sense of humor. So we're writing this stuff down. We're space age, we're high tech, we're a leader, we travel around the world. Somebody wrote this down. I remember Paul, one of the marketing guys, said, we're the nerd who somehow always gets the hot chick. right? And somebody in the room said, we are Captain James T. Kirk at the Stars of Enterprise. Every episode ended with him grabbing the hand of the pretty woman, and even if she was green, and going down the hall. So now when you see this personality, this is no accident. This is a company that says, this is the personality we want you to think of every time you think of our company. We're just lucky that this guy did these ads. You don't have to have that. You don't have to have a spokesperson, you have to have a personality. So every letter you write, every email you send, every correspondence, every ad, every web page should be in Captain Kirk's voice, right? That's how people say that must be Ben and Jerry's. That must be whatever. You want your company to be so well defined that people recognize you without even hearing your name. That's a brand personality that you need to develop. So I put a stop there, but I have one more topic. Should we do it or stop?
Do it. Do it.
I'm trying to be respectful of time to everyone else. So what I did was put an end here, because that's my time. But if you want, I'll do this other piece. I'll just make it fast for you guys. So I just want to talk about one other piece, which is the marketing of this. Now you have a brand asset. What is the one thing in the world you're best at? Whether it's your person or your company, and you have a brand personality. How do you want to be seen? By the way, that has a lot to do with, I go to events. Next week is the launch of Makers Week. National Makers Week. We're trying to get more people to make things, and the White House asked me, I'll be in the White House with the President doing this launch. So we'll be going live next week to launch Makers Week, but the White House said, would you mind wearing a suit? Because Obama will. And I had to say, I kind of do mind wearing a suit. I'll do it anyway, but it's just not who I am. You know, it's not my brand. It's just not who I am. I spend so much time with youth and kids that wearing a suit couldn't separate me more from them. Most of the time, I'm in a t-shirt. Recently, I was sitting on the floor with a bunch of first graders, sitting outside in a parking lot chalking, because I wanted to hear what was on first graders' minds. Imagine if I was wearing a suit that day. So it's not really my brand per se, but I want you to develop and live your brand. Now, the thing that I want to tell you about in marketing is that the whole new battleground is intent. Oh, God, embarrassing. And I want to just give you one quick story, and then I'll stop. The story about intent, when you deliver your message, now that you know what your intent, your personality, and your brand asset are, is this. I just want to tell you a story. In my music company, last year we were very blessed that we won a Grammy, and that was a really cool experience. But I think that was the focus on excellence in everything you do, not money. We made that album with pure passion, never expecting it to necessarily sell, but knowing we could go to sleep every night saying we did the most excellent work we could, and we wound up winning a Grammy for our efforts for doing that. So intent. I was my music company at the time. I took time off from tech, and we were doing music tours. We were doing Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and Elton. We did a Beyonce tour. At this time, I was on tour with NSYNC. That's Justin Timberlake standing next to me. We were on the road. We were in the world's biggest music store. And I was asking them, and I'll go fast and I have respect for time here. I was asking them the question I want you to ask yourself. Why does anyone do business with you? So I was watching people in the world's biggest music store in Times Square. It was filled because NSYNC was the biggest band in the world then, and we were about to go downstairs and make an appearance in Times Square. The place was rocking. And I said to the owners, flew in from London of the world's biggest music company, because it was NSYNC at the time. And I said, why does anyone come and do business with you? Same question I want you to ask. And he said, oh, they come here to buy CDs, that's what we sell. I said, I don't think so. He said, Jeff, look out the window, everybody's buying CDs. That's what we sell. That's why they come here to buy a CD. I said, I don't think so. He said, what do you mean? I said, no one wants a CD. No one wakes up in the morning and says, geez, I wish I had a round piece of plastic with a hole in it. And no one wants to get in their car, drive to the store, walk up and down the aisles, find a CD, pay for it, and drive home. And he said, what do you mean, Jeff? He said, you're an idiot. We sell millions of CDs. Everyone wants CDs. I said, no, they don't. And he said, what do they want then, smart guy? Right? He's getting mad at me. And I said, all they want to do is hear that song now. And he said, what's the difference? You know what the difference is? The music industry failed to invent the iPod. The music industry failed to invent iTunes. They lost billions. If you thought your job was to get a song in somebody's ear as fast as you could, instead of selling them a CD, would you run your business different? You would. So I went back to my business, and I did the same thing I want you to do. I said, guys, why do people do business with us? Why does anyone come to us? Why does anyone buy from us? They said, oh, we sell airline tickets. They come here when they need an airline ticket. I said, uh-oh. Guess what? Nobody wants an airline ticket. Nobody wants to go through the airport, park in an expensive place, go through TSA, sit in the middle seat, get no food. No one wants an airline ticket. My own team said, what is it they want? I said, guys, when they wake up in the morning, all they want to do is go to their sister's wedding. question is this: if your job is to help people get to their sister's wedding or their family graduation, do you run your business? Do you market different? Our advertising that used to say, if you need an airline ticket, come here because we sell them. Guess what it changed to? We know you're stressed about getting to the wedding. We're going to get you there. Okay? Our sales went like that. If you had said, so I want you all to ask, what is your customer really, what is the intent? When they woke up, somebody said, we sell workshops and coaching. They buy workshops and coaching. Guess what? Nobody on the planet actually wants to go to a workshop. None of you woke up saying, it's a beautiful Saturday, let's go sit in the library. Nobody wants to be here. You're here because there's something you're trying to achieve. You want to achieve something, you have to come here to do it. You want to hear a song, you have to buy a CD. You want to go to a wedding, you have to buy a ticket. I want you to figure that out for your business. What is the intent? When you sell to that, your sales will skyrocket in ways they never have before. This time I really will stop. Thank you guys very much.